as a kid. Apparently, I hardly spoke before the age of 5. I know, can you believe it? Not short of a word now. I chose a lot of drugs. I chose drugs from a really early age, about 17, 18. I've traveled around the world in planes, trains, automobiles, hitchhiking, various private jets. Thank you for tuning into or watching the Choice, Change and Action podcast. My name is Simone Milasas and I am your host. Your choice creates your future. Every choice you make, action you take, you create a change for you and the world. Please enjoy this podcast. Don't take it too seriously. Don't take me too seriously. Don't trust me. Trust you. You are the one that knows what will work for you. And have way too much fun enjoying your choices. Welcome to Choice, Change and Action podcast. Oh my goodness! 200th episode. How does it get any better than that? I am so excited and so grateful. I think gratitude is key here. I am so grateful for all of you guys who have been listening the whole entire time, or you've just come along. Thank you. This podcast today is basically about me. So this is me. I talk about, the choices I've made in my life and where I'm at now and where I'd like to be heading. And I invite you to do the same. It was a great space to look at this on my 200th episode. So please enjoy this episode. Enjoy you. Have way too much fun wherever you are in the world. Truly so grateful for you. How does it get any better than this? Woohoo! Hi, everyone. So this is a podcast of, I guess, like a celebration of myself. That's interesting. I haven't really planned anything for this. This is my 200th episode. So yay, jazz hands go wild. And I'm very grateful for myself. I'm very grateful for all of you out there listening and all of the feedback I've got and the gratitude, etc. Because to me, that's what true contribution is. If I can contribute to you and you receive, then I also receive from that too. It's like a true gifting and receiving is how I would put it. And so, yeah, it's my 200th episode. And someone made the suggestion that I do a podcast and talking about my life and where I am right now. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see I just got back from Pilates. I've been in the wind in my garden talking to my amazing, beautiful gardeners who are just so adorable. They're going to be doing a podcast with me in the month of April for Earth Day. They're phenomenal. I would highly recommend watching that as well because they look good too. Hey, but I've just been in the garden talking about the plans for my garden and what I would like to create and what we're choosing and what the earth is asking for. And because I'm just doing some renovations and built this whole new fence and it's just looking amazing. And it's like this, fairy garden. It's going to be incredible. It is incredible. So my hair's all over the place. I just got back from Pilates. Again, my Pilates instructor is one of the most phenomenal beings I know. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put below any of these amazing people I'm mentioning, I'm actually going to put links to their Instagram and to if they have websites, because one of the things I have acknowledged is my ability to pull people into my world, to receive people in my world that are just these phenomenal, great, amazing beings that are kind and caring and, we may use different verbiage in different ways, and yet we're all desirous of the same thing. We're all desirous of something greater, and that, benevolence is so present and so there. If you're on YouTube, you'll see, and please go subscribe to YouTube. We are overhauling my whole YouTube, and there's going to be so much great, content and information there for you to play with and watch and, hopefully change an area of your life that you think is not working for you. I just came back from Pilates and I have my t-shirt on that says, "Frack the Insanity." And there's a whole bunch of different t-shirt designs that we have on a website, that we created called happinessisjustachoice.com. It's really cool. You can get a whole bunch of things from there. We'll have that in the show notes as well. So here's, I wanted to do this podcast and I was driving home, and today already I'm like, man, how did I get so lucky? And that's a tool in Access, is to ask that question of how did I get so lucky? And, there's a difference too, because I'm just so grateful for everything. And I'm so grateful for so much that shows up in my life. And then there's the period of time where, people used to say to me, oh, you're so lucky, things show up. And I was like, but it's not luck. I've worked for this. I've asked for this. And that is the energy. Okay. What are you asking for with your life? And if I look at my life, growing up, gosh, as a kid, apparently I hardly spoke before the age of 5. I know. Can you believe it? Not short of a word now. But I hardly spoke before the age of 5. And I had, big blue eyes, and apparently used to just walk into rooms and be really silent and look at people. And I remember Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, saying to me once, oh, it was like you came back and, in this lifetime, and you're like, really, I'm here again. I'm back on the planet. Like, what am I meant to be doing this lifetime? And I so get that. I resonate with that. And one thing I do want to say to you all is, anything I say in this podcast or any other podcast, if it doesn't resonate with you, don't buy it as true. Buy what is true and real for you. And I do get that is one thing that I've chosen, the majority of my life. Have I slipped into moments where I was buying somebody else's reality and making that more real? Sure. And yet, so much of the time I've chosen what works for me. I haven't done it in the easiest way. Sometimes it's like with approving energy or more of a resistance energy rather than just choosing. Now I'm way more in this a beautiful, amazing place where it's like, oh, if I would like to choose something, I choose it. And I'm not looking for somebody to validate it. I'm not looking for, somebody else to be choosing it before I choose it, etc. So I get my life has evolved so much in that way. And I'm truly grateful for all of my choices. So as a kid growing up, I went to private schools in Sydney, Australia. Went to private schools, and that's a whole different energy unto itself. It's like a different world, and it often reminded me of, like the Jewish community has this way of contributing and having each other's backs. They'll always, maybe hire within the Jewish community, etc., or look out for each other. There's got the private school, schooling system, especially in Sydney, which was where I grew up, is had that same sort of thing. Like, once you left school, it was like you support the private school kids. I think, this mentality of like, it's like a community and each other. And so you sort of know what to expect. And well, I guess immediately I stepped out of that in some way because I left to go overseas. I, did a few things working here and there, and then actually studied to become a travel consultant. And then I went, I can't do that job. I can't book other people's holidays. I get frustrated with it and annoyed with them because I'd want to go, because I had a very strong desire to travel the world and see the world. So I did, and I left. And, basically I came back and forth like once or twice, but I was overseas once. Actually, I came back, and then I was overseas for about 3 years. And I traveled around, had little money. I definitely learned how to travel around the world on not much money. I camped around Europe, I think we camped for like 7 months. We camped for so long until we were in Dresden in Germany. And it was, the wall had just come down. The wall had just come down, and it was before the unification. The unification was on the 3rd of October. I don't know why I remember that so well, but I do. And so we were in that interim part. We were in East Germany, which was phenomenal because there wasn't this hatred and this anger and this, regret or any of those energies there yet. There was just a discovery. So we drove into East Germany, which was hilarious. We had this little Audi, a friend of mine, Anna, and myself, and we had this little Audi. And then all the other cars were like these like gray old cars. It was like you'd gone back in time, and there's no signage for anything. It doesn't say restaurant. There's no advertising or anything. You're in East Germany. So again, we were really poor. So we were camping, and we were camping in Dresden. and we were the only one in a tent. It was like 2 a.m. in the morning. We woke up and we're like, it's so cold. It was so cold that we had to get in the car and we had to turn the car on and turn the heater on in the car. And we looked at each other and went, I think we need to spend some more money and actually get go to a hostel. So we did, and we went to a hostel. So, I learned how to cook from one little, gas thing and camping. And the amount of times I would have rice and then we would put like a soup mixture in, and so it would fill us up. That's what we would eat a lot. We learned how to travel the world, explore, and discover something different with hardly any money. So it was fun. I have absolutely no regrets. And now I get to travel the world, and I guess I have created money, and I've learned to have more money, and now I get to travel the world, and I'm in nice restaurants and nice hotels and maybe Airbnbs, etc. And it's a different world. I was just saying to, my gardeners, Diego and Will are my gardeners, and I was just saying to them, I've lived a very colorful life. I have no place to judge anyone. What I choose now is very different to what I've chosen previously, and I'm sure what I'm going to choose in the future. We were actually having a conversation about drugs, and I chose a lot of drugs. I chose drugs from a really early age, about 17, 18. Smoking weed, pot was the first thing I did. I actually chose cigarettes as well, and drinking, of course. And then, I got into the chemicals, which, when I was 18, 19, the chemicals were, you had ecstasy, speed. Coke was pretty much too expensive. I had it every now and then, but it was too expensive for me. Acid, like little microdot tripping acids, lots of different things I did on a regular, very, very regular basis, to the point where I think this is funny. Is, now I have a book called Joy of Business. And for me, I was like, okay, I liked taking drugs, but I didn't have the money for it. Okay, so what can I do to change that? So I started dealing, because that was Captain Obvious to me. It's like, if I deal, then I can sell enough that I can make the money so that I can take the drugs and I don't need to be, as, poverty stricken. So I did that for a while, and like I said, I have no place to judge anybody, and lived in Sydney for a while, doing that, after traveling overseas, etc. And I had other jobs as well, like many different jobs. I've had so many jobs that one of the jobs I went to, the guy said to me, you do realize how bad your resume looks, right? And I looked at him and I said, yeah, I think. And he said, you've had so many jobs. He said, why have you left them all? And he said, let me guess. And he said, did you get bored? And I was pretty much like, yeah. And it's like, because every time I did a job, when I was done and I was bored, I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. Because for me, it's like, why would I do a job if I wasn't enjoying it? So that, skip forward, that's actually why I wrote the book, Joy of Business, which is now translated into, I think, 17 languages. And it's on Audible in a lot of languages as well. And for me, it was like, if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, what am I doing it for? So I'm going to ask you that question. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, what are you doing it for? Okay. Now, if you go, I'm doing it for the money. Can I tell you, it's like money is going to show up. Like if you choose what's joyful for you, more money will show up. It just does. Money is an energy. It's not as significant as what we make it. It's fun. It's really great to have money. I way prefer to have money than not to have money. It's, I have more variety of choice, like a diversity. And I've definitely been there, done that. And I've slept on people's couches, and, I haven't had the money to do a lot of different things. And my whole journey of discovering money is in my second book I wrote, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. I happen to have that one sitting right next to me. So if you're on YouTube, I'm showing it. It's Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. It's got some really fun stories of different things that I chose. From even sleeping in a hotel in India, in Delhi, in Paharganj, India, that cost me $2 Australian. Oh, I remember trying so hard not to touch the walls in there because they just looked so gross, but it was $2 Australian. I've done so many different things. Like I said, slept on people's floors, I slept in a train station in Munich once. because I didn't have the money to go to get a hotel. And I was hitchhiking. Mit Barthentrali is what they called it. Hopefully I pronounced that correct. And you would hitchhike so that you would like pitch in to pay the petrol, and that's all you paid for. So I used to do that all over Germany. And this one time I was getting dropped off in Munich, and it was late at night, and the woman said, "What hotel? Like, where are you going to?" And I was like, "No, just drop me off at the train station." She said, "Are you getting a train? Where's the train going to at this time of night?" And I said, no, it'll be in the morning, and I'm just going to sleep in the train station. And she was just horrified. She's like, "You can't sleep on Munich train station." And I was like, "Why not?" Because I had slept in really, unusual places around the world. And, I learned how to put my arms and my legs through my backpack, that I could use it as a pillow and no one could steal anything. That's how I learned how to do that. Solo too, by the way, guys. I was on my own. I just did it. I just chose it. And so she went and she found this place. It was on Munich train station, and it was a place for women who had been attacked, raped, etc. So she went and knocked on their door, spoke a whole bunch of German that I couldn't understand, and I ended up sleeping on their floor. She said, at least the door's locked and you'll be safe in here. So maybe she saved me from something, I'm not sure. But yeah, there you go. Again, I have so been there, done that in so many different variations. I've traveled around the world in planes, trains, automobiles, hitchhiking, various private jets. I've done so much in my life, and I'm so grateful for where I am. I'm really, really grateful for where I am. I'm really happy. Sure, there's moments that you just like, holy shit, how am I going to deal with this? And I use the mantra of access. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. I use that a lot. I use the tools of access consciousness every moment of the day. And I'm super grateful for that. And, when you talk about the tools of access, one of the things I look at too is, we have the clearing statement. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, POVIDs, and beyonds. You can find out more about that at theclearingstatement.com. You can use it. You can shorten it, POC and POD. You can ask a question. You can, there's processes to run. There's body processes to run, which I got one run this morning. One of my favorites, MTBSS on my immune system. It's amazing. And there's bars, it's a hands-on body process on your head. And it's phenomenal. Like, all of that is just great. And you have to choose. You have to choose. It's like you choose your life. It's like you can have these tools and they will work if you choose them, but you got to choose them. You can't just pick up a book, pick up a manual and look at that, or go to a class and then dismiss it. Well, you can. It's a choice. That's actually a choice. Or you can embrace it and you can engage with all of it and you can choose something different. And I use the Access Consciousness tools to create my life, to change the areas that are maybe not working for me, etc. Throughout all of these years, the last 23 years, I've been working with Access. And, prior to that, I had a business, as I said, that guy said, your resume looks so bad, but I did start a business, one of them called Good Vibes for You. And I used to do music festivals and sell merchandise and create merchandise, shirts, stickers, magnets, lots of different things that had sayings on them that hopefully could inspire someone when they read them. Things like, imagine what you'd do if you knew you couldn't fail. And I used to grab them from people I met or books I was reading. And there was one I remember, this Israeli guy. I was in Nepal, in Kathmandu. And he said to me, he's like, so he's talking about Australians, and he was like, you Australians, he said, you're crazy, and I was choosing something, and he was saying to me, why don't you relax? And he said, look, if it feels good, it is good. If it feels bad, change it. And I was like, that's gold. So I had this book and I would write stuff down, and that was what I had on one of my t-shirts. If you feel good, you are good. If you feel bad, change it. All those designs I used to come up with, pages and pages and pages and pages of them, I also embraced them. Like, I didn't just do a t-shirt and see how many t-shirts I could sell. mean, there's a whole lot of stories about that in my book, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, because even creating it, it's like me actually selling it and receiving money was not the easiest thing for me to choose, but I did. All the hurdles that you get over. But for me, it's like, man, I really embrace that. It's like, there was another one that I had called, and it had written on the t-shirt, do not be afraid. Be open to the moments of life. Do not be afraid. I was like, yeah, if I can wake someone up by them reading a t-shirt or buying a t-shirt or seeing that, then I am making a change in the world. And for me, from a really early age, that has been my desire, is to make a change in the world, is to, I guess, wake people up, realize that you are all different. Every single one of you is different. And one of the things I would like everybody to acknowledge is the truth and the lies in everything that you choose, whether it's, a religion, a job, a friendship, a family, anything. Ask for the truth and the lies to show up, and they will. Hey, universe, it's like, thank you for everything that you've gifted me. And can you show me the truths and the lies here? And what if you ask for that with yourself? Because we spend so much of our lives lying to ourselves. What if you didn't lie to you anymore? What if you were so truthful to you and every choice you made was true for you? It's a tool I use a lot. What is true for me? What is true for me? And please don't stop. Don't slow down for anyone. Keep going. What is it that you would like to choose? I am in my early 50s now, and I honestly feel better and greater than I have in my whole entire life so far. I have more of a communion with my body. There is different things that I've discovered. My body is, almost literally slapped me in the head with a 2x4 sometimes and just gone, hey, you need to listen to me. Last year was a big year for me with my body. There's a couple of things that showed up. And I know I'm integrating a change. I know I'm embracing more relaxation. I'm embracing a different possibility with my body. And it's been really fun. I am learning so much about bodies and my body. And I'm like, every time I do, I'm like, oh my goodness, they are amazing. They're so friggin' intricate. And the world makes what you look like on the outside, one of the most important things, like your quote unquote image. I think that's actually why I wanted to come and do this podcast as well and just go, hey, this is me. This is me. I just got back from Pilates. I've been standing out there in the wind. My hair's everywhere. It's like, there's lots of stuff going on. I've even got a t-shirt on that you can see. I've got this skin stuff going on at the moment, but this is me at the moment. And I know what this is, and I've been doing some research into it, and I've met some amazing, I call them my pit crew, like practitioners and people who have given me information, and I'm listening to it all and going, oh, this, that. So I met this great guy who's a homeopath, and I'm about to go, start some homeopathic stuff that sort of matches the energy of what I know. I've known what's going on with my body, and when he started talking about it, I was like, it's sort of like it's symbiotic. Like when you know something and then you hear the information and it just goes and works together. For me, that's the, symbiotic energy where something is true for you, right? But through this, I have learned so much about my body and about other bodies, and also not to judge it. I mean, this is showing up on my skin, but it's not actually a skin thing. It's what's my body asking me for? And I've looked at that. Like 2015, I had a hysterectomy, massive fibroid in my uterus. So they took the whole thing out. And I was just so relieved because, to be honest, I was in so much pain. I had the heaviest period for like 2 years and nonstop. And, I was in pain, all this sort of stuff. So I was relieved. But now, that was 2015. Now the last year or two, I'm like, I never asked my body a question. What did you create that for? Like, what were you asking me for? What was going on within my body that I can have a look at and listen to you and go, okay, so what change do I need to choose? Nothing to fix, okay? I'm a big believer in your body is not about fixing it. It may be asking for a change of some sort, but it's definitely not about fixing it. It is always giving you information. So I have evolved so much with my body. I mean, I mentioned all the drugs that I took many, many years ago, and uh, my gosh, I'm like, and my body's still here. It's like, oh my goodness, it's like talk about trying to destroy it in some way, and it's still here. It's here. It's with me. It's literally my body is my best mate, and one of my other best mates is the earth. I know I have a communion with the earth. I've actually acknowledged that big time. And I have a communion with the earth. And I'm asking for more. I'm asking for greater. What is planet Earth asking of me? What can I contribute to the planet? What can I receive from the planet? What else is truly possible? That's a huge question in my world. What else is truly possible? I know I haven't recorded any of them yet, but please listen out for I've got some really cool people lined up for the month of April, because I'm making it about the earth. And I actually have a class coming up called Relationship Done Different with the Earth in April. So if you want to join me for that as well, we'll have that in the show notes too. So don't forget to subscribe to the show notes, and please share this podcast. And I would love to hear your feedback. I really would. I got a message the other day on Instagram from this guy, and it was so nice to receive. There was basically how much it had changed his life listening to the podcast, and and what had occurred, and I could just perceive the gratitude in his world. And when somebody has gratitude for you, like I said right at the beginning, and it's like, then I have gratitude for them. Just look at the energy of that, of how amazingly beautiful that is, and what we can, actualize in the world from that energy of gratitude. Okay. Now, the other thing I'm going to say too is I've had my fair share of vilification, which is always interesting for me. It's like it used to churn my guts a lot, because and it wasn't so much the vilification of me. It was why do people choose to be that unkind? Why do they choose to be that cruel? Like, why do they find it that necessary? And I realized, why, as we talk about in Access, is like the fork in the road. It's like asking that question of why. It's not going to actually give you clarity. It's just going to keep you going like around and around and around. It's like, just because they can, that's their choice. Okay. And then I have a choice. So what I have chosen with the amount of vilification in different areas that I have, received, is that's their choice. I'm still going to keep living. I'm going to keep choosing, and I'm going to choose for more kindness. It's like one of the greatest potencies in the world you can have is kindness. And, I found it interesting. I was watching a show the other day, and the word for free, like freedom, free, and the word for forgiveness in Arabic is the same word. But look at the energy of that. We talk about forgiveness in the English language. Nelson Mandela, he 27 years imprisoned and got out and then became president. And so many people were like, yay, now we can go against the whites, sort of thing. And he was like, no, now is the time for forgiveness. And for me, it's like I said, verbiage, like words by definition alone, create a limitation. So use what it is works for you. But for me, kindness is freedom. When you embrace that, it's like it has that integration of a different possibility, but people still get to choose. Some people can just be friggin' assholes, like really. And then you have these amazing beings that you have. And like I said, I have an amazing pit crew, of people that I have around me. Like, when I travel and come home, and it's like I have these amazing practitioners. Someone nicknamed it that once, my pit crew, because they come in and they see all these different people that either work on my body or, whatever it is that I'm asking for, my body's asking for. And they're just so magical, these magical, magical beings. Even from like the guys who do my garden, all of it. It's like, but here's the thing, you can ask for that to show up. Ask for that energy of caring and nurturing to show up in your life. Here's the key. You've actually got to be willing to receive it as well. So what can you receive today that you weren't willing to receive yesterday? Dear universe, show me something beautiful. Show me something phenomenal. Show me something I wasn't willing to receive yesterday. And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. So I've spoken to you about, little bits and pieces, I guess, of my life. I'm really grateful for it all. I'm grateful for, the fabulous people. I'm grateful for the shitty people. I'm grateful for the times where I've stumbled and fallen and grazed myself, and grateful for when I've jumped back up. I'm grateful for the hurdles that I've had to jump over. Some have been little, some have been massive. I'm grateful for the ease that has shown up in my life, for the joy, for the relationships that I've been in. It's like, thank you to everybody, not just the sexual ones. It's like all the friendships, everything that I've had over the years, from my friendships at school to after school, to traveling, to now, to all of it. Every single thing I've chosen has added to me. And this is me. Everything I've chosen has added to me. And this is where I am right now. What I'm looking forward to is what next. And I know in my world, I am discovering so much more of me. I'm discovering so much more of what it is that works for me. And you choose something and you're like, yeah, that. I'm asking for more. I'm asking for greater. I'm asking for that benevolence energy to be in everything that I choose. And it makes me smile. It's like, what is next? What is next in my world? What is next? What am I choosing? More consciousness on the planet? Absolutely, for sure. What would it take for every single person that is seeking something greater to find it? They can find it with access consciousness. You can find it in a different way. Access consciousness is not the only modality or thing or direction that is actually creating consciousness on the planet. There's a lot. Access consciousness is one of them. It's pretty much one of the fastest set of tools and processes I've ever found to create a change in, like I said, in any area of the world, of your world and your reality that you think is not working for you. So if you haven't done an access class, please come play. Bars class is what I would definitely recommend first. And then you have a foundation class. Then you have choice for possibilities or energetic synthesis of being with Dane. There's lots of many different things. There's business done different classes, relationship done different classes, getting out of debt joyfully. I have that one showing up in April as well. I'll be doing that too. So, and it's online. There's lots of different stuff. But here's the thing. You've got to choose what works for you. I know my whole life, I've chosen what works for me, even if it's been sometimes through a bit of a struggle or a fight. What I'm learning is you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight. You can demand of yourself and request of the universe and see what shows up. So thank you so much for joining me here on my 200th episode. Oh my goodness, how does it get any better than this? And again, I'm so grateful for everybody who sends feedback, because, I sit in my office or wherever I am in the world and record a podcast on my own or with some other person. And you do tap into everybody across the whole entire world. I do that every time. And yet it's really nice to receive the feedback. So I'm grateful for that. I'm honored that you listen. And thank you for being here. Truly. Thank you. How does it get any better than this? What else is possible with all of this? What else is possible for Choice, Change, and Action podcast? Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. Well, did you like this podcast? Love it? Hate it? Inspired by it? Can you do me a favor? Can you please write a comment, share it, like it? If you are listening on Spotify or Apple, could you tick a few stars for us? Leave a review. It's all such a contribution, and I am immensely grateful. Follow us on Instagram at Choice, Change, and Action, and drop into our DMs and let us know what you would like next. When you subscribe to the show notes, you will receive a brief summary and any questions or tools we used and links to anything we discussed during the show. It might make your life easier. What if we asked for that? A life of ease, joy, and glory.